I was, well, unashamedly at the time, a corporate wanker. I really was. I was living a very selfish life. Everything was about me. It was next job, next promotion, bigger house, bigger car. My time was spent, in the corporate world. So I never saw my brothers, my sisters, my mum, my dad. So it was just truly inwardly thinking. And I loved it, and I was really good at it. I was good at the corporate world, and I was in Coke for 12 years and kind of almost got to the top, but it just wasn't the right way to be. It wasn't a very purposeful life at all. I was walking down to the Corso. Actually, it was a Sunday. I was pretty hungover, as I was back then. Most weekends, which wasn't good. I don't drink much anymore, and I just had this tapping in the back of my mind going, this just can't be it. Is this it? I got my house in Fairlight, I got my great job, there's got to be more to life, and I felt kind of had this moment of total insignificance where I wasn't contributing a thing to anything. So I went the next day to work and I looked up volunteering, and I knew that I was going to New York 2 months later on a conference. So I went from a 5-star hotel in Times Square, and then I went to Cambodia and volunteered in an HIV centre. And that's what changed my life. I spent 10 days there, and that was it for me. So I landed the next morning in Sydney. I went straight to my boss's house and just said, hey, I'm out. I'm done, this is my 6 weeks notice. And he goes, what's happened, who's poached? So he thought, who's poached you? Is it Diageo, is it Pernod Ricard, who's taking you? And I said, no, you know what? And I talked him through my whole experience in Cambodia. I said, I'm gonna go see what this is all about. So yeah, I did 6 weeks at Coke. I sold my house, I sold my car, I sold all my Coke shares. I had a big garage sale and sold everything I had. And I planned a 12-month volunteer charity trip, which started in Cambodia and took me through most of Asia and into India and out into Africa. And that's where I met the kids that I thought I could help, and found gaps that I thought, what could a small charity help these kids with in terms of their development and the country's development? I studied my master's in international business. When I was at Coke, they put me through a master's course, and a lot of that was cross-cultural studies and understanding different cultures and sensitivities. So I guess Coke prepared me for what I was doing. And for me, the huge gap was when they get kicked out of the orphanage, and they do really get kicked out, as soon as they've finished grade 12 or grade 10, depending on the different countries, they get reintegrated into a society that has rejected them. So I thought, you know what, I've got to get these kids university educated. And for me, it was that next level of education that can truly help them. And because I'd come from the HIV orphanage, I was also really getting to know a lot about HIV and children and what environment they need to be in, what medication they need to be on. So we started an HIV program as well. And then we started building some schools in Africa too. So we operate in Cambodia, Nepal and Tanzania. We put children through university. Currently we've got 7 in Tanzania, 2 in Cambodia and 7 in Nepal. We look after 22 families affected with HIV in Tanzania through not just monetary support, but we microfinance some businesses for the parents. We help them get transport to the medication and checkups as well, and we put the kids through school. And then we've built 2 schools as well in Tanzania for about 260 orphan children. Education for me in the developing world is absolutely everything. They need to go to university, they need degrees, otherwise they're not looked at for anything. They won't even get a job in a hotel if they don't have a degree. They'll just work as a cafe worker their whole lives. So it's absolutely everything. I think what happens to people is we're choked by fear, or we're being choked by our society that says we have to have a house and a car and a mortgage and a job, and you have to support your children, get them into good schools and kindergartens and primary schools and all this sort of stuff. And we're just like, well, we can't think differently. We can't do anything like that. We need to be different. We need people that'll break the mold and that will do things differently. And I'm not saying, third world or developing world should be your passion and that's who we should be helping. There's so many great causes out there where people can break the mold, the typical corporate mold, and day-to-day living by helping a cause. And let me tell you, the purpose that you get out of life and the passion that it inspires inside you is something that you would have never felt before.